Hello everybody, welcome to this wonderful reading. I'm Zoya, welcome. So in this tarot card reading, I'm going to be doing for Aquarius, and this is going to be individual. So Aquarius will be an air sign, and it's a zodiac sign. And Aquarius will be going for at least May 24th to June 1st of 2025. So basically, in this wonderful reading, I'm just going to tell you all that this is going to be a very interesting reading indeed, and this is the way of how it's going to be in that way. So you have to understand about what's going on in that way, and my own intuition about what was going on, what's bothering Aquarius these days. I'm trying to figure that out. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on in that situation, and we have to believe what's happening in the way of how it is in one or another, right? So you have to be what's going on in that way, and we're trying to be accountable, be certified, be whatever you want. But the way of how this is, whether you need to understand about the way of how you're feeling is the way of how you can understand that, right? That's the way it seems to be. So you have to believe it in order to understand it, and you have to understand what it takes, and that's how it seems to be, right? So you have to understand the way how this is, the way how things are. We have to believe what's happening in that dialogue, right? That's the way it kind of is. So we have to believe what's going on, and we have to understand what's happening in that way, whether it seems to be very interesting, but that's the way it kind of goes. So we have to understand that, but that's the way it goes. So as the oracle card that says honesty, I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. So when you have your own honesty, you pay attention if you're being honest or being reliable or being whoever you want to do. But when you have honesty, you have to have your own self respect, your own discipline, your own way about considering your options. The way how this is, you have to be sincere. You have to know exactly what it takes. You have to do exactly how it is. You have to do exactly how it's going to be. You have to be who you are, right? You're trying to spring into action and saying, all right, I got this. I know what to do. But then you have to understand and saying, okay, well, it seems to be, I need to do this, right? That's how it seems to be. And when you have honesty, you have to pay attention if you're being honest or not. But it all depends on you. It all depends on how you're feeling, the way how you're acting, whether you're being sincere or whatever it is. But that's how it seems to be. And when you have honesty, you pay attention about being honest, about telling the truth, not making a lie or anything else. So you have to understand that. Because, Aquarius, as Aquarius man or Aquarius woman at the same time, you have to pay attention to what's going on in this wonderful way about what's happening in that way. You have to pay attention to it, and that's how it seems to be in that way. Okay? So that's how it seems to be. But we're going to figure out what's happening in that way, and we have to do what it seems to be in that way. We have to do exactly what it seems to be and what seems to be the way of how it is. And you're thinking, well, this is the way it seems to be. This is the way it kind of goes, and that's how it is. So here we go. So this is a huge reading, by the way. It's very huge because you have 4 Pentacles reversed. You're not looking for money. Obviously, you're not. The High Priestess reversed. You're not having, basically, you're not using your inner voice. I don't know why. The Knight of Cups reversed. You're not feeling any romance. I don't know why, but there's something that was very interesting. The Nine of Wands is upright because you're having fear about something. The Strength card reversed. You're basically having fear. Like, you're not being brave, right? Because you're being scared about something. The King of Wands does some maybe passion, maybe security, maybe the way of how it goes. The World is upright, there's completion, and the Seven Cups is upright for a delusion, right? So you're trying to be who you are, but then it's like how I can understand this, how I can feel this, right? This is the way it kind of looks. But based on certainty, based on how it's going to be looking like for you, I'm going to figure out what's the past situation, the present, and the future. So, this is going to be a different way of accepting on what's happening in this way, right? You're trying to figure out if it's the right perspective or the wrong perspective, or that's the way it seems to be. So you have to go with the flow and understand if you have any dignity or whatever it is. So I'm going to clarify the High Priestess to the Four of Pentacles. The Hierophant is upright, followed by the King of Swords reversed, followed by the Knight of Wands is upright. Yeah, because you're having fear, right? Because it's based on that. If you have the Hierophant, you have guidance, okay, that's the way it goes. The King of Swords reversed, you have no knowledge, right? You have not knowledge because you don't have it, right? When you have no knowledge at all, and it's not very good, it's very, like, basically saying that, well, I don't need it, exactly how it is. But you have to understand that the way of how you're feeling, the way how you're acting, the way how you're being sincere, you have to be who you are to understand about how it takes, how it's going to be involved, how you're going to be selected, whatever it is. But it seems to be that, right? It means to be that you have to pay attention whether you like it or not. You have to be based on how you're doing it, how you can understand that, how you're feeling wanted, how you're feeling needed, that's how it seems to be. But when things are not going as planned and you're having fear, why are you having fear? Why? That's the way it goes, right? That's how it seems to be. Because I'm going to clarify that King of Swords. The Seven of Wands reversed, followed with the Nine of Cups is upright. Yeah, because you're going to have fulfillment. Everything is fulfilled. Yes, it is. But you have to understand that, right? So if you're dealing with another Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, if you're dealing with a Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, you pay attention on what's going on, right? That's how it seems to be, that you have to do exactly what it takes, because you have to remember that if things are going to go as your way, fine, in that direction, but you have to pay attention to it. You have to know exactly what you want, what you need, what you're going to go by. That's the way it goes. But then you have to figure out, saying, okay, well, this seems to be, I know what to do. All right, that's what it seems to be. What's happening between this Knight of Cups here? Judgment is upright because you're going to take action. The Eight of Wands is upright because you want speed, and the Three of Cups is upright, you want celebration. Yeah, because you want to celebrate on something. I don't know why, but you're trying to figure out, saying, well, it's not all about me. Actually, it is all about you. You're trying to pay attention if you like it or not, Aquarius. Get to the point. Get to the point and saying, alright, well, I want speed. I want to do whatever I want. Yes. But you have to pay attention whether you're going to figure out about that guidance. Guidance is the key. Get with it, right? Use that sense of mind that you have. If you don't want things to be your direction, you're thinking, forget this, I don't want to do it, then why are you still going to not to freaking quit, right? You pay attention. You pay attention about your strengths, your abilities, whatever it is. But when you have no strength, as I'm going to look at this card and I'm going to clarify it, you pay attention. You want things to happen in a different perspective way. Alright, makes sense. But does it make sense? I don't think so. But let me clarify. Nine of Swords reversed, followed with the Eight of Pentacles is upright, followed with the Seven of Swords is upright. Yeah, you're feeling deceit. You're feeling like you want more of your career. You want to be perfection. You want everything to be all nitty-gritty. Yes, it is. But this is not being like, oh, you're going to have neat and tidy. I'm going to do whatever I want. Really? You have to pay attention, Aquarius. You have to pay attention of what you want, what you need, what you get, whatever it is. But you pay attention. Whether you're feeling like, okay, well, I know what to do, I got this. Yes, you do. Are you making your own rules? Are you like saying, okay, I'll need to do this? Pay attention. Pay attention about your own skill set. Pay attention about that. You pay attention what you want, what you need, what you get. That's how it seems to be. What's happening between the Nine of Wands to the Seven of Cups? The Hermit reversed, okay. The Fool reversed. The Chariot reversed. The Eight of Swords is upright, followed with the Queen of Swords is upright. Yeah, because You're trying to figure out that you're going to show your independence, or you're maybe showing about there was something else, right? And the Eight of Swords is upright. It does represent anxiety because you're feeling like, why I'm having anxiety, you know, why I'm having this, because things are not going as planned, right? When you have the Hermit reversed, it means that you already found a soulmate. Okay, that's fine. But when you have no progress, when you have no change, why are you having anxiety? Why are you feeling scared? Are you feeling like you're gonna pout and cry and everything else because it's like, whoa, it's me, I can't do this anymore, I'm gonna freaking quit. Yeah, right. Because you think that the world is already is already completion, everything's all completed. Because it makes sense. You have to go exactly what you're told to do. Be responsible for your actions. Be responsible about how you're feeling, how you're getting wanted, how you're getting needed, whatever it is. If you're acting to be, if you're going to have loyalty, you have to pay attention to it. Because, like I say, there's always a will and there's always a way. You pay attention to it, right? You pay attention about how you're feeling in one way, and you're feeling about the other way, right? Because you have to do exactly what you're told to do. Be responsible on how you're feeling, right? That's what it seems to be. You pay attention to what you want, what you get, what you need. You try to be professional. Does it make sense? I don't think so. So let me clarify between the Hermit, the Fool, and the Chariot. Page of Wands reversed, followed with Three Pentacles upright. Yeah, because you're talking about it, you're trying to get excited about it. Alright, that's how it is. What's this Hermit card about? The Three of Swords reversed, so there's no heartbreak. But the Wheel of Fortune's upright because you're going to have good luck on your side. Alright, you're having good luck. When everything's all completed, you pay attention to it. You pay attention about your own abilities. You have to know exactly what it takes. You do exactly what you're going to do. That's how it seems to be. So I'm going to clarify between the left side. Okay? Then I'm going to clarify the middle and the right. So the Sun card is upright, followed the Tower is upright, followed the Hangman reverse, followed the Justice reverse, followed the High Priestess reverse, followed the Wheel of Fortune is upright. So whenever I look at this, the Sun card is positivity. You're staying positive. Okay, alright, that's fine. The Tower is upright because everything's transforming. Everything's changing. That's fine. Alright. But when you have the Hangman reverse, you have no restrictions. But the Justice reverse, you're not telling the truth. You're lying about something. You're lying because, you're trying to get your own way. You're thinking, oh, well, I'm going to get my own way. I'm going to do whatever I want. Yes, but does it make sense? No, it doesn't. You pay attention to what you get, what you want, what you need to be considering about. That's what it seems to be, That's why it seems to be in that way. So you pay attention about that, right? Now, let me go from the middle all the way to the right side. So the Judgment reversed, the Death card reversed, the Temperance is upright, the World reversed, the Strength card reversed. See, the Strength card reversed because it means that you are basically being scared. Because you don't know what to do. You don't know what it takes. You don't know how you're going to express yourself. If the World reverse is incompletion, everything is incompleted, right? Because you're trying to figure out that. If you have the Temperance is upright, you're healing about something. You're healing that, oh, well, I'm healing because, there was someone that was bothering me, or I don't like it, or whatever it is. You're trying to have your own insecurity, right? You're telling me that you're staying positive. Alright, Aquarius, get to the point. You're trying to stay positive as much as you can. Alright, I got it. But when you're having deceit and things are not going as planned and you're lying about something, you're not telling the truth, you're not whatever, there's something that's wrong with you. Really, that's the point. Something is wrong with you. I don't know why you're lying about something. I don't care. But the way of how this is, I do care, because you have to not lie. If you're lying about how you're feeling, or whatever it is, why are you doing it? You pay attention about your weaknesses, your own strengths, your own abilities from the right and wrong perspective. That's how it seems to be. What's this World card about? The Star reversed, but with the Lovers is upright. Yeah, because you want to make decisions. That's how it seems to be. Because in one way or another, you're thinking, well, this is the way it seems to be. I need to understand about what's going on. Yes, it is. But that's how it seems to be. What's between the Justice card reverse? I'm going to clarify that. The Moon is upright, but the Hangman is upright. Yeah, because you want restrictions, right? You want to be restricted. What's the Moon about? The Empress reversed, the Fool reversed, the World reversed. So there was incompletion, but the Sun card is upright because you want to stay positive. All right. So there was something incomplete in one way, and there was an incompletion on another way. All right, that's fine. But there are things that you must learn first. In order to do that, you need to be succeeded, right? Everything has to be all great, all nice, all whatever it is, and that's fine. But the way how I can see it in different terms, in different lifestyles, in different ways, you have to remember that everything has to be in a good effort. Put yourself in someone else's shoes, for example. Why are they doing this to you, or why you're doing it to them? You pay attention. If you have honesty, you pay attention to it. You pay attention on whether you like it or not. That's why it seems to be, right? Because I'm not fooling you. It's just a rating that I'm just telling you about. Pay attention about it, right? If you're hearing me getting mad and frustrated and whatever, because there was something wrong with you, because you're not telling the truth. You're not doing that. Why are you having it? Why? That's how it seems to be. What's happening between this Strength card on the right side? So we'll clarify between the World and the Strength card. The Devil reversed, but the Death card reversed, but the High Priestess upright, but the Star is upright. So basically, between the reversed Strength and the other card that I just clarified, basically, it means that when the Star is upright, there is inspiration because you're going to wish upon a star, and plus you're basically doing the High Priestess because you're using your inner voice, right? When you're using your inner voice, you're thinking to yourself and saying, all right, this is the way it goes. I need to do exactly what it takes because about how it's going to be in one way or another. And you have to know exactly how it is in one way or another because you have to go with the flow, right? You have to pay attention on how you're feeling, how you're acting, how you're being sincere, and this is the way it goes, right? You have to do exactly how you're going to be mindful, and whether things to be in that perspective, you're thinking, oh well, I know what to do, I got this, I'll see it in a good position, that's the way it goes. But when things are not going as planned, and you're just sitting there waiting until you decide to, flip the handle, whatever it is, you need to pay attention about how you're feeling in one way or another, right? You have to do exactly how you're told to do, because one way or another, it's like you're trying to figure out, it's like, well, I need to be, try to be the way of how it is in one way or another, right? You're trying to think about, well, I want to do this, I want to take action, and you're thinking to yourself. You're thinking about what's happening in one way or another, and you have to do exactly how you're told to do, right? And when you have to understand that, you have to do exactly how it is in one way or another. You have to do exactly how it seems to be. So you have to understand of how it goes. So I'm going to clarify between the middle and the left, middle to the right. So the Ace of Cups reversed, followed the Nine of Pentacles reversed, followed the Five of Wands is upright, followed the Empress is upright, but the sun curves upright. Yeah, because you want to stay positivity, right? But when you're feeling uncomfortable, everything is not going as well, right? Because the thing is like when you have chaos, when you have the Empress as the other woman, whatever it is, you're feeling like, okay, everything's fine. But it's like, no, it's not. You know how you're acting, how you're feeling, how you're being wanted, because things have to be all great, and you're thinking, well, I need to do exactly how it is, and you're thinking, well, I need to do this as long as it feels, and you have to understand that, right? You do what it takes, because that's the way it seems to be. You have to do exactly what you're told to do, be responsible, be how you're feeling, the way how it is. That's how it seems to be. What's between the middle and the right side? The King of Swords reversed, the Justice reversed, the Ace of Pentacles is upright, but with the Two of Wands reversed, but with the Six of Wands is upright. Yeah, because you want to have celebration, but you're not telling the truth, right? Because you're lying about something. If someone else is lying, you have the other one that is lying, right? Because on their part, whoever I'm talking to, another individual here between Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, or Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, or Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, or Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, whatever it is, you have to pay attention on how you're feeling, the way how it is, right? And what's in the middle of this situation? The Nine of Swords is upright. Yeah, because it means that in that way, in that how this is, it's like how you can be feeling in one or another, right? You have to step back of how you're feeling. If you're having trauma in your life, because you pay attention about, oh, well, woe is me, I can't do this anymore, I quit. Why are you having that? Right? That's why it seems to be that. That's why it needs to be very, how it is in one way or another, and that's how it seems to be. So let's see what's going on, what the universe is saying here. So I'm going to go from the middle to the left, middle to the right. The Queen of Cups reversed. Okay, no empathy. Two of Cups reversed, there's no relationships. Wow. Ten of Swords reversed, there's no conclusions. Six of Pentacles upright, you're going to have kindness. Yeah, right. The Ace of Pentacles reversed, there's no satisfaction. The Ace of Pentacles upright, there is basically growth. So when you have the Six of Pentacles upright, you're having kindness. I would know why you're being kind, because because when the Justice is upright, it tells me that, and with reverse, it means that you're not telling the truth. You're lying about something. But why you have the kindness card? Let me clarify that. The King of Pentacles here says no security. The Seven of Cups here says no delusion. Strength card is upright, you're being bravery. Yeah, because you're saying to yourself, it's like, okay, I am going to be staying positive. I know how I can be acting all kind and not mean, not rude, not be respected enough. But the way how this is, you have to be sincere. You have to know exactly how you're going to be planning on it, whether you like it or not, how you're going to see it, how you're going to put yourself into someone else's shoes, right? You pay attention on how you're going to be forgive and forget, as the way it seems to be. You know how it is, but that's how it seems to be. You pay attention on how you're feeling in one or another, but that's how it is. You pay attention on how it is. What's between the middle and the right side, please? The Tower reversed, there's no transformation. The Hand reversed, there's no stillness. The High Priestess reversed, you're not using your inner voice. The Nine of Swords right, there's trauma. The Lovers right, there's decisions. The Page of Pentacles right, there's prospects. The Six of Wands right, there's achievement. Yeah, exactly. That's why it seems to be. You're trying to have achievement. You need to know exactly how it is, because you know exactly how it is one way or another. That's the way it seems to be, right? You have to pay attention about that. What's in the middle? Queen of Pentacles reversed, there's no stability. Seven of Pentacles reversed, there's no vision. The Temperance reversed, there's no healing. The Emperor reversed, there's no structure. But the Five of Pentacles upright, there's insecurity. I just said that earlier. But the way how this is, yeah, you're like saying, okay, I know what to do. I know what it takes. I know how I can understand it. That's the way it seems to be. So I'll do one card from each side. So between the left side, the middle, and the right. So let me clarify. So the King of Cups is upright. The Devil is upright. Wow. And the Eight of Cups is upright. So we know how it is. So when you have the Devil is upright, you're having obsessions. You're being mean. You're being nasty. You're being rude. That's how it seems to be. You're having violence because you're not getting what you want. But then that's how it seems to be. So I'm going to clarify. I'm going to clarify between the King of Cups because you have support. Alright. But you're dealing with another Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio as water signs. So let me try to pay attention to that. So what's happening? So Nine of Cups is there's fulfillment. 10 of Cups there's completion. But the 10 of Wands there's burdens here. Yeah, because everything is fulfillment. You have completion, but then you have burdens. You know? But then you have to pay attention on how you're feeling, and you have to be responsible on how you're going to be interacting of how it seems to be, right? You have to know exactly how it seems to be in one way or another, and you're thinking, okay, well, you know, I need to figure this out. I need to do exactly what I need to be doing. I need to be how I can plan this out, right? When you do exactly how you're told to do, you have to be responsible on how you're feeling, and you have to do exactly how it takes, because that's how it seems to be in one way or another. That's the way it goes. What's happening between this Devil card here? The Two of Wands there's planning. The Fortune reverse, you're having bad luck. The Queen of Swords reverse, you're having no independence. Yeah, because you're not being who you are. You're acting like you're not showing independence because you have no independence whatsoever. If you have independence, and if it was an upright card, you have an independence. But when it's reversed, you have no independence, which means that you're not doing as expected. You're not following the rules. You're not paying attention. You're not getting what you want. It's like there was something that was happening. If you're having bad luck, if you're not paying attention, if you're not, whatever it is, it's like there's something that was causing it. Because you don't want to do it. You don't want to say, alright, well, I want to do it. No, you're not. You're just sitting there and pouting. You're just sitting there and being like a nobody. You know, that's why it seems to be that. Like, I'm not being mean or rude, but you pay attention on how you're feeling. Aquarius, get to the point. Get to the point when you have the Queen of Swords reversed because you have no independence whatsoever. Think about that. Because, you know, the way how this is, when you have no independence and you do that, you're not showing anything of it. You know, and when you have no independence, you're not paying attention on what's going on. It's like you're just sitting there doing nothing, and you're thinking, well, this is quite unsanitary because it's unclean. That's what it seems to be, Aquarius. Get to the point. You know, you have your own self-control, your own self-ability. You have exactly how you're doing. But when you're acting like this, why? You pay attention on how you're feeling, Aquarius. You pay attention to what's happening. You know, that's why it seems to be that. There's two wrongs don't make right. Pay attention to it. That's what it seems to be, okay? What's in on the right side, please? Justice reverse, yeah, you know what? You're not telling the truth. You're lying. The Emperor's over, there's nourishment. And the Seven of Swords over, they're feeling deceit. Yeah, because when the Justice reverse, you're not telling the truth. You're lying. When you lie, there are some reasons that is happening to you. When you lie, you don't pay attention. There are at least 3 lies. Okay, I can tell. 3 justice cards that I just seen that are lies. Because you're not telling the truth. You're thinking that, oh, it's someone else's fault. I can't do it anymore. I'm not going to show my independence anymore. Yeah, you know what? You get to the point, Aquarius. If you're not telling the truth, and let me show you this card so you can pay attention to it. When you're not telling the truth, you're lying about something. When you lie, it gets to the point it's like, wow, this is very interesting. Because why you're lying? Why you're not telling the truth? Figure it out. That's what it seems to be. You pay attention to what's going on. But when you're not lying, you're telling the truth. If it's upright. If it's reversed, you're lying. But that's how it is. So I'm going to clarify that. I already clarified it, but I'm going to clarify it again. So what's happening between this Justice card on the right side? The Knight of Pentacles here is you're not having trust. Aha, interesting. The Eight of Pentacles already there's perfection. But the Ace of Swords already there's understanding. Yeah, because there's understanding because you're not having trust. You're not telling the truth because you're lying. You know? You pay attention to what's happening in one way or another, because there are certain ways that you need to learn. You have to focus about what you want, what you need, what you do, what you're planning on it. You know, that's how it is. So now I'm going to read you the Enchanted Mapp. And this is the way it kind of happens. So it's like, okay. So let's see. Let's see what's going on for Aquarius. From May 24th to June 1st. So what's happening? So let's see. Number 9, it says Storm Fields. Ooh, this is a good one for you, Aquarius. Alright, so it says reversed, by the way. Or, no, it says upright, by the way. Oh, well, I was trying to not get myself confused there. Alright, here we go. It says, Stormfields, upright. This too shall pass. It says, upright. An uncomfortable chaos is surrounding you. Things that you have left unattended may be the cause of some conflict. Pent up energy needs release. Just as a storm in nature must break. For these events occur when the electricity between opposing forces stirs things up and creates temporary disorder. Not all storms are destructive. Rather they serve nature by bringing rain to the ground and wind to the trees, enabling seas to be wildly distributed and continuous growth to be ensured. Just remember that whatever is being stirred up inside you or between you and another will benefit you later. The sun will shine again and new growth will be observed. Don't be afraid to shake things up a little. So it means that, you know, when there is some kind, when it says things that you have left unattended may be the cause of some conflict. You pay attention to what was happening, because, you know, you have to understand that, right? If things are not going as planned and you're thinking, well, you know, woe is me, I can't do anything more, I quit, you know, you have to pay attention to how you're feeling, how you're going to be, you know, how it seems to be, right? You pay attention to how it is. You know, you do exactly what you're told to do. Be responsible because of how you're feeling. If you're not telling the truth, if you're lying about something, if you're just not having any trust, or anything like that. Why are you doing it? Why? Because you're not showing your independence? Like, huh? Like, really, right? You have to pay attention about how you're feeling in the way of how it is. You do exactly what you're told to do because you have to be responsible of how you're feeling, how you're acting, how you can do it, but that's how it's going to be. You pay attention because there is a way of knowing what to do. You have to know exactly what you're told to do because you have to be responsible on how you're feeling, the way how you're acting, how you're going to be, whatever you want. But that's how it's going to be. You have to do exactly what it takes because that's how it is. You have to do exactly what you're told to do because you have to be responsible on how you're feeling, how you're being projected, how you're feeling, what you're feeling. But you're feeling like you're being neglected or whatever it is, right? If you're having conflict with somebody and you don't understand or whatever it is, why you're having conflict, why you're not getting along, yeah, you have to pay attention on how you're feeling because that's how it seems to be. That's the way it goes. So before I let you all go, try to pay attention to what I'm saying because this could happen to all of you, and this is the way it seems to be. You have to pay attention about how you're feeling, the way how you're acting, how you're being sincere. You do exactly what you're told to do, and you have to know what it takes because that's how it seems to be. You have to do exactly from the right and wrong perspective because you have to do exactly what you're told to do. So you have to understand that, right? Because there are things that you must learn first. In order to do that, you have to pay attention. Because how would you do exactly what you're told to do? Because you're afraid of doing something, right? You're trying to figure out, it's like, why am I afraid? Why am I afraid? I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. It's like, well, you have to do exactly what you're told to do. You have to become of who you are. You have to pay attention on how you're feeling, how you're acting, how you're being sincere. But that's how it seems to be. So I hope you all like this video. Please give a like, please give a comment and enjoy. And this is the way it seems to be, and this is the way it goes, right? That's how it seems to be. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day to all, and I'll see you next time. And this is the way it seems to be. So thank you so much, and have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye for now. Really, thank you, and have a good day. Thank you, and bye.